Hey, how you doing today? These problems I'm about to do here, just take notes over them. You don't really have assigned problems like them. I just want to show you in case they would ever come about. You have this equation 1/6 d to the third pi equals v, okay? And they give you the value for v, and you have to determine the value for d. So you're going to replace the v with 9,000, okay? You have 1/6. D to the third you don't have because that's what you have to figure out. And then pi you can just use 3.14. Okay. So if I need to solve that, okay, 9,000, I could simplify this side because this is all multiplication. That's the only operation on this side. I could take 1/6 times 3.14 on a calculator. So 1 ABC 6 times 3.14, and that's 0.52, just round it to the nearest hundredth. And then we still have the d to the third, okay? So now I can solve for d pretty easily. I would need to divide by 0.52, because that's multiplying the d, so I take 9,000, 0.52, that's a pretty big number, okay. 17,307.69. Okay, now with a second power you use a square root, so with a third power you're going to use a cubed root, okay. So you put a radical, but you put a 3 in there. Now obviously that's not going to show up on your radical sheet because they don't have decimals. So what you have to do on a problem like this is use your calculator. You got to punch in 3, and then it's second, and then not the x squared key, not this one, it's this one. Okay, that's how you do get a cubed root. 17,307.69. And I got 25.86 or 87, so that's approximately the diameter in that equation. Okay, I'm going to do another one. They give you the value for Q and V. You're given those. You have to find the D variable. So pi we know is 3.14. D we don't have. And then the V we have 400 to replace for V. And that's all being divided by 4. And then the Q is 30, okay? Now before I worry about anything else, I'm going to get this ridiculous looking 4 out of here. Now it means that everything's divided by 4, so if I don't want the 4 there, I'm going to multiply that side, but each side by 4. Okay, and now the 4 is gone. We got 120. Now I'm also going to, on the way down, I'm also going to multiply 3.14 by 400. Okay, 1,256. Well, 1, 2, 5, 6, and then we still have the d to the second. Now I can solve for the d variable. I'm going to divide by 1,256. That now d to the second's by itself. .09, we'll call that 0.10, okay? Then we have to find this, now it's a second power, so we're going to find the square root this time, okay? So you go 2 second, then the upside down v, and that's 0.10. That's what the diameter is, 0.32. Okay. And the last one we're going to take a look at is V equals the radical 64d, and I got to find d, but the problem is they don't give me the value for v. Okay, so what I have to do is rewrite this equation so that the d variable is by itself. So if there's a number there, I'm just going to ignore it. To get into there, it's in a radical. You don't have any operations outside the radical, so right away we take that side to the second, and that'll go away. And now I'll have 64d. Now that means I would also have to take the other side to the second. I don't know what number that is, so I just put it as v to the second. Now, if I have to solve for the d, I would divide by 64, and then I don't know what that is, so I'll just put divided by 64. Now, the d is now by itself, so we know it's equal to v to the second divided by 64, okay? Okay, now you're probably not going to be a big fan of this, but I think you can do it. If I go through 4 problems and go through them kind of not just like, well, do this, okay, got it, good, okay, I want to take my time going through this. Now think back to the assignment you did Friday if you can remember it, okay? You're solving for x, but you got x outside of a radical and x inside. Now look at the radical that you have. You want to first work on getting rid of the radical. You don't have a multiplying number in front or a plus minus behind. It's right there. So let's get rid of the radical. Let's take it to the second power. That goes away. Now last Friday there was just a number over here that you could take to the second power. Well, not today. Now it's an entire expression you take to the second. So the radical goes away here and you just have x plus 7. Okay, the side with the radical, I just get rid of the radical and the second power cancel each other out. They undo each other, and I just have x plus 7. But unfortunately, I didn't have a radical here, okay? So the second power is not canceled out. So here's what we have to do. Go to a scratch paper, and you have to take x plus 5. You make 2 identical parentheses with this. This is how you're going to do that, okay? And now you're going to execute the FOIL method, okay? So 1x times 1x, 1x times 5. Do it on the colored paper so you're not like all over the place. That's just my recommendation, okay? So you can keep your paper cleaner and not get as kind of confused. So this is 1, and x times x is x to the second. That's 5 with x. That's 5 with x. Those don't cancel, okay? Because 5 plus 5 is 10, okay? So put 10x. That's 25. So we have 1x to the second plus 10x plus 25. That's what that turns into. Now, you're actually going to use your quadratic formula, okay, because you have x squared, x and a number, but you can't use that until this side becomes 0. So let's get rid of our 1x. Let's move that out of here. And you can put that with the 10x minus your 7. You can put that with the 25. So we have 1x second. That's going to be 9x plus 18 equals 0. Now, there's 2 avenues you can take. I'm going to be telling the class to do the T-chart and make the parentheses, but I know you hate that, okay? So that's why you can use your quadratic formula. So opposite of b, because you got that down good, okay? B squared minus 4ac over 2a. Okay, so the opposite of plus 9 is negative 9. B is going to be 9. 4, A is going to be 1, C is 18, and A is 1, okay? So we know we have negative 9. We know we have 2 times 1 is 2. Okay, I'll make the square root up here. 9 times itself would be 81. Then 4 times 1 times 18 is 72. That gives me 9. The square root of 9 is 3. That's on the board, okay? So I take negative 9 plus 3 divided by 2, negative 3. And you put another x because you have another answer. Negative 9 minus 3 divided by 2 is negative 6. That's good enough for that, okay? All right, same thing on the next one. I'm going to do 3 more. Okay, if I'm going too fast, you got to get stuff down, pause the video. That's kind of why I make the videos. Okay, so outside the radical, you got nothing, so let's get rid of it, okay? Okay, now we go to the other side, and same thing there. The side with the radical and the second power cancel, and that just gives us 5x minus 1. But over here we didn't have a radical, so the second power doesn't cancel that easily. So to get rid of the second power, we have to go over here, and we got to take x minus 3 multiplied by another x minus 3. That's how you take a binomial to the second power. Binomial means there's two things in that parentheses separated by either a plus or a minus. So we're going to take 1x times 1x, 1x times negative 3, negative 3 times 1x, negative 3 times negative 3. So that's 1x to the second, that's negative 3x, that's another negative 3x, they don't cancel, okay, you add them there and that's negative 6x. They only cancel if you have a negative and a positive of the same thing. So negative 3 times negative 3 is 9. Okay, so we have 1x to the second minus 6x plus 9. Okay, now we want to go to quadratic formula when I have x squared x constant, but I have to clear this side of the equation. You got to have a 0, so this stuff has to be so minus 5x, and we put that under the 6x, plus 1 under the 9. So we got 1x to the second. Now be careful on this. Don't write 1x, because that's negative 6 minus 5, okay? It's not 6 minus 5, it's negative 6 minus 5. Then 9 plus 1 is 10 equals 0. Okay, so opposite of b plus or minus the square root, b squared minus 4ac over 2a. b is 11, opposite, and there's negative 11. So I got 4, a is 1, c is 10, a is 1, okay? So we got 11 plus minus, 2 times 1 is 2. Now I got to figure out the square root. So negative 11 times itself is 121. Then we'll go 4 times 1 times 10, that's 40. It's 81. If you look on the board, 81's up there. That's 9. So I go 11 plus 9, that'd be 20, and 20 divided by 2 is 10, but then there's a second answer. 11 minus 9 is 2. 2 divided by 2 is 1. So 10 and 1 are your two solutions to that particular problem. Get two more just a second. I get a handkerchief here. Sorry about that. Okay. Example 3, x plus 3 equals the square root of negative 3x minus 5. So again, here's my radical. There's no multiplier or added subtract in front of it, so we're good to get rid of it. Okay. Out. But the other side, when there's an x plus a value, you put it in parentheses and square it. So negative 3x minus 5 there. So on the other side, we have to take x plus 3 times x plus 3. So 1x times 1x, 1x times 3, 3 times 1x, and 3 times 3. 1x second, 3x, 3x, that makes 6x, okay? And then 9, so I have 1x squared plus 6x plus 9. Okay, now quadratic formula time, you just need to get that to a 0, okay? So plus 3x to the 6x, and then plus your 5 to the 9, okay? So I have the 1x to the second, 1x plus 6x plus 3x is 9x, 9 plus 5 is 14 equals 0. So opposite of b plus or minus the square root b squared minus 4ac over 2a. So that's negative 9, b is 9, 4a is 1, c is 14, and then a is 1, okay? So we have negative 9, 2 by 1 is 2, 9 to the second's 81, okay? 4 times 1 times 14 is 56, and then that is 25, which is up there, that's 5, okay? So we need a second answer, so negative 9 plus 5 is going to be negative 4, and then negative 4 divided by 2 is negative 2. Negative 9 minus 5 is negative 14, divided by 2 is negative 7. Okay, example 4, last one. So square it and square it. Remember, this side's the one you get to just write down x plus 7, but you don't get to do that on the other side because there's no radical to cancel out the 2. So we have x minus 5 times x minus 5. So I take 1x times 1x, 1x times negative 5, negative 5 times 1x, negative 5 times negative 5. So that's 1x to the second, negative 5x, another negative 5x, and then 25. Combine those, you get negative 10x. Remember, don't cancel those. Those never cancel when you take, that's when you have the exact same sign. That's when you have a plus and a minus where they cancel out. So you have 1x to the second minus 10x plus 25. Okay, now you got to get this side to 0. So you're getting rid of a 1x, and you would subtract that from the negative 10x. Remember, that is a negative 10, not a 10. Okay. So that gives us 1x to the second minus 11x, and that's going to be 18 equals 0. Okay, so quadratic formula time. So 11, then negative 11, 4, and then a is 1, and then c is 18, and then a is 1. Okay, so you got 11, 2 times 1 is 2. Negative 11 times itself is 121. 4 times 1 times 18 is 72. Too lazy to think. Oh, that's 49. Okay. That's 7. Okay. So 11 plus 7 is 18, and then if you divide 18 by 2, you get 9. 11 minus 7 is 4. 4 divided by 2 is 2. Alrighty then. Let me know if you have questions.